sandwich. It's Sarah Russo here. We look like we're missing Manny Del Carmen, but I do have Jason Santos from Abbey Lane, my favorite restaurant, by the way. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I really am like obsessed with now coming to Citrus and Salt after reading about it. I need some Mexican back in my life.
Yeah, it's a really fun place. I mean, it's like coastal Mexican, but we try to be authentic with flavorings and stuff. But we take, how can I put it, like a little bit of culinary freedom with coming up with our interpretation of it.
Oh, okay. I think that's cool. I've in quarantine for 3 months, single lady. Never really cooked before. I got a couple blue aprons here and there, and I think it taught me how to cook, but I've become better. But I need to come and hang out with you and learn some more.
Anytime.
Especially with the spices, like the steak. What would be like your favorite like rub for a steak? Just because I'm curious.
I think one of the biggest sort of misconceptions about cooking at home is that I think I generally find that people just don't season periodly. Like, they'll like grill a steak, put it on a plate, and then put salt on the table. So as far as like a favorite rub, I mean, I could name 1,000, but I think if everybody at home starts with salt and pepper and they didn't use that before, the steak will automatically go from good to great.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing with a little olive oil here and there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I do love steak, and then I have salmon and all that stuff. But you were on Hell's Kitchen. You're going to have to tell me a little bit about how that was, somebody who wasn't doing TV all the time, just went to, like, Superstardom.
Yeah, I mean, so I, this is now pushing 11 years ago. I mean, it's been a long time. It was they were casting in Boston. I thought it would be something maybe I'm interested in. I decided it wasn't for me. And then I had a friend of mine who was like, let's just go. We'll hang out, see what happens. I got casted. I was on the show. I was really into it. And when I got there, I realized, I kind of figured out how things work, I guess, that TV/cooking genre. And I just kind of, I felt very intuitive of how they do production and the cooking part. So I ended up making second place, which was great. And I've done some cameos. I've been involved over the past years, and I just last summer I just filmed 2 seasons, 36 episodes as Gordon Ramsay's sous chef in the kitchen. So that'll air this fall on Fox.
Oh my God, that's so exciting! I know you. I can be like, I know him, and he's gonna teach me how to cook. Do you teach people how to cook, or am I just?
I could be talked into it, but as a general rule of thumb, you need to have an excessive amount of patience. And I'm super busy in general, so my lack of patience sometimes will show in the kitchen with people that are a little bit more of a novice.
Well, you know what we'll do is once we get Manny back, Manny, unfortunately, his cat had a seizure as we were setting up for our interview today. We could do a cooking session once we come out of quarantine and take that. That would be
so martini and everything sort of works itself out.
I know. Speaking of the quarantine, I mean, you have 3 restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
Boston's been slow to open the restaurants, which I understand. But, how was it running, post like June 18th or whatever they allowing everything? Did you do takeout? Like, that must have been so crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously for everybody, it came really fast, like fast and hard. We just thought, people are starting to get sick. Next thing you know, we're shutting down the city. So we decided that we were going to make a whack, give it a go at takeout. It's not something we generally do, but, obviously we need to make some sort of money. Abbey Lane does not do any takeout, Citrus neither, and Buttermilk as well. But we decided, let's try this. And I think it was about 2 days in, and my assistant general manager didn't feel well. So we decided to send him home, of course. And then, the next day he said, oh, I'm sicker. And the third day, even sicker. And then a week later, he's in the hospital. And long story short, he was in a coma for over a month with COVID. And he had kidney failure. And, his wife did a GoFundMe page. And we really thought he wasn't going to make it. Ended up pulling through. He'll make 100% recovery. He's still not back at work. He's still really weak and, trying to get his strength up. But he'll be back in a few weeks. But because of that, I mean, frankly, we were just super freaked out. So we decided this is not worth the little bit of money we're doing in takeout. So I shut down all my restaurants. I figured, at the time, safety is far more important than some money here and there. So we shut down, and then we decided, on the other end, when everybody was healthy and our staff was healthy, and plenty of time had come past. We had all the restaurants professionally COVID cleaned. I mean, I was like to the point of a little bit neurotic about it because I was a little bit nervous. We decided to do some takeout again, so we started back up with the restaurants, Citrus, Abbey, and Buttermilk. did Takeout, you know, basically make just enough money to put a couple of our staff back on payroll, and that's why I did it. It's not something I'm super interested in, but some of these guys couldn't collect, weren't getting any income, so I thought if we can make just enough to pay them, even if we break even, it's worth it to me. So we were doing that for a bit, and then with the protests, Abbey Lane, they got rocks thrown through the window and was looted, so I had to shut down Abbey Lane, but we're now opening Abbey Lane tomorrow, back up with a temporary patio, which is great. Citrus and Salt's patio opened yesterday. Buttermilk's patio opened this past Monday. And Buttermilk with the giant patio has been, like, unbelievably busy. Like, I mean, I can't even believe it. Sunday night I talked to my manager. I said, hey, if we do 20 people for lunch and 40 for dinner, I'll be psyched. We don't even generally do lunch, so nobody even knew we were open. We ended up doing 180 people that day. And it's been – we were booked for 10 days straight, literally booked. Like, I couldn't get my mama table booked. And, I mean, obviously super thankful. Everybody's kind of coming back. And my favorite part about it is the people. The people, and understandably so, I thought they'd come back and be really sort of pensive and nervous and timid and, but they're just, like, psyched to be out, thankful. They're tipping our staff. I mean, it's like the best feeling in the world. That's
great to hear. I know. I saw that. I did actually on Facebook, and I had sent it to Louie about Abbey Lane. That was really terrible that happened there,
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, they, basically, I mean, I don't know, frankly, I don't think it really had anything to do with the protest. I think it was just a couple of bad eggs that, stayed past the hour, but they stole all the liquor. They stole our iPads and POS systems and cash drawers and looted the kitchen. I mean, it was tough. And I actually found out on Twitter. I had a friend text me and say, hey, this looks like it's by your restaurant. I was watching this video, and I was like, well, that's by my restaurant. Oh, wait, that is my restaurant. Oh, that's going through my restaurant. So I found out at 10 o'clock at night from home.
Oh, my God. Because I could not stop watching on TV because I work in the city, too. I'm a pharmacist. So, I got all this COVID stuff, and I'm just watching in horror because it wasn't protesting anymore, and I don't know. Do they not realize that they're destroying people's hard work? Other people have jobs there. It's just too bad that occurred. That was.
I think, to be honest, it's a super sensitive subject, and I try very, I have, everybody has their beliefs, and I try to stay as unpolitical as I can, just because, no matter how you spin it, someone's going to be upset. But I'll tell you, I think, you have a bad person, regardless of skin color, you have a bad person, and it doesn't really matter. And if you have, people that are there for a good cause and good people, wanting change, I think that's fantastic. I love the fact, I think everybody should be allowed to protest. Absolutely. It's a couple bad eggs at the end that take advantage of people's weakness and situation, and they decide to loot. Those are the people that make me nuts. I don't think it was a vehicle. The protest was a vehicle to get to the end of the night for that. But it definitely had nothing to do with the protest. They weren't protesters. I think they were just some bad eggs that were taking advantage of a situation.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. But I'm so glad you guys are coming back, and it's great to hear about all the people. I'm going to have to come. I am so sick of being stuck in quarantine over here.
Same.
I'm like, just to get ready, I'm like, oh, I actually can get ready and look like myself today. Otherwise, you'd be like, oh, God, who is that? Walking by.
Yeah.
But so you also released a cookbook earlier this year.
Yeah, I have a great book called Buttermilk and Bourbon. It's all sort of our favorite things over the last 2 3/4 years of the restaurant being open, from the biscuits to the chicken. And we just, I'm so psyched about the food. I love the food so much. I wanted to put it in a book, and they're literally verbatim. I mean, a lot of people would say to me, like, why are you putting your recipes in a book? It's like, look, first of all, if you can make them as good as me, like, have at it. Second of all, like, they're so good. I mean, going to a restaurant and eating some biscuits at home is a completely different experience. And I think we're more in the experience business than we are just cooking food. So I just wanted to share it with everybody because I think it's delicious stuff.
I bet a lot of people used it during the last 3 months, too.
Yeah, it's funny. With this looting at Abbey, I had a case of cookbooks stolen. And I was joking. For the next person that posts a picture of my biscuits online, I'm coming to their house.
Right?
Yeah.
You know who it was from, right? Yeah. I'm going to have to get a copy of that because I'm just so into cooking now. Into
It's super easy. I mean, they're like very approachable recipes. They're, we try to be super creative so it elevates the home cook a little bit. Restaurant quality, but very simple and accessible ingredients.
That's awesome. That's really exciting. And I have seen you on the Today Show. Did you get to meet Hoda?
Yeah, I actually, Hoda's great. I've done the Today Show a lot. I'm actually doing it in a few weeks, but They're great there. It's like one of my favorite shows to do. They're super sweet. Carson's great. I mean, they're just good people, and it's like hanging out with friends cooking, and that's like the best feeling in the world.
Oh, I'm sure. They just seem so friendly, and I love watching them. And that's good to know. So that must mean they're going to get all back together in the studio soon.
I hope so. I hope it. I mean, it's, you know, this the segment I'm doing is actually with Dylan Dreyer, where I'm doing it from my house. So I think we're getting there, but not there thus yet. You know, thus far.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she's not the Boston girl.
Yeah.
That's great. I did hear a rumor from a friend, though, that you might have another restaurant coming, a fourth one.
I can confirm that. Normally, I would confirm or deny, but at this point, I can confirm. It's called B&B Fish, so Buttermilk and Bourbon Fish. It's Marblehead. We're opening around August 1st. We're in the construction. I actually just came from there now. It's going to be like kind of an elevated fish and chips type place. I mean, I kind of joke and say it's going to be the fanciest takeout place you've ever seen. Like, everything that, you know, the usual suspects at like a fried clam shack, scallop, shrimp, you know, coleslaw, but we're trying to do it on a completely different level, you know, really nice packaging, really things that lend itself to post-COVID. And, you know, that's what happens when I'm home for 2 months and bored. I start deciding from a desk that I'm going to open a restaurant, which sounded great when I had all that time. And now I'm like so busy.
Yeah, I know, because we're starting to come out of the quarantine. That's exciting. So it's gonna be like fish and chips. So it's like another little.
Yeah, it's like we're gonna do biscuits and stuff that we do at Buttermilk. There's some fried chicken and pork belly, but it's very seafood driven. You know, again, like anything, nothing. We're not serving anything that you haven't seen at the obligatory clam shack, fried clams, onion rings, stuff like that. We're just putting a ton of effort into trying to make it more upscale, nicer, higher quality. I mean, you know, everybody fries a clam in semolina. We're using a faro semolina that's been smoked. I mean, we're just trying to make it kind of unique, I guess, so it's not just like that other clam shack.
Well, that's very exciting. Now, that's something I want to come to the opening. If it opens and we're all out of COVID, which I don't know if we will be, but yeah, that would be, yeah, I know. I'm praying, you know, we just got to get that vaccine first. We'll be good to go. I hate it.
I wish I had a recipe for that one.
I know. Me too. I wish I had I have some knowledge, but enough to make the vaccine. Then I'd be a millionaire.
Yeah,
you know?
You definitely would.
But yeah, so Manny and I will have to come up there, and we'll.
Please, we'd love to have you. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry he wasn't here, but I loved talking to you. This was so good.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right. We'll talk soon. It was nice to meet you.
Great. Thank you. You as well.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.